Hello everyone. Alright, so we are going to continue on the asset pricing and financial econ. And we are in GeoGebra, and we're going to hit start calculator. And in this video, we're going to continue talking about the two states in the future. And in addition to that, we'll also use two assets. So remember, we started off with one asset and only one state in the future, and then we did only one state in the future but two assets, and then we did one asset but two states, and now we're doing two assets and two states. Okay? So here's where we are here. Actually, I'll go ahead and just write that out. So what did we start with? We started with so number of states, and then number assets. So 1, 1, 1, 1. What am I doing? Undo that a couple times. 2. And these are future states, because we always have the today state. Okay, so this is the thing we started with. We started here, and then we did two assets but one state. We did that, and then in the previous video we did two states and only one asset, so we did that third. And now this is what we're doing now. We're going to do two states and two assets. Okay? All right, so let's go ahead and let's make ourselves a couple assets. So the first one I'm going to make pays off in the down state $1, and then pays off 0 in the good state, and it's going to cost us $1 today. And then I'll just do vector A. Okay. And then I can go ahead and just make us a line through that as well. So a line through that. Perfect. Okay, so this is where we were in the last video, right? We just have a one asset economy or one asset market, and we have up state and a down state. Okay, down and up. All right. So now let's go ahead and make ourselves a second asset. So in this one, we're going to have 0 payoff in the down state, 1 payoff in the up state, and then we'll have 1 payoff or 1 cost. It's going to cost us $1 today, right? So if we look down from here, you know, they're very similar assets, except they just pay off in different states. And, you know, they're both going to cost us $1 if we look down this from this direction, right? Both of them are $1 high. Okay. So now I'll go ahead and draw us a line through that. Okay. So here we are. So we can buy any amount of this asset, buy or sell, and we can buy or sell any amount of this asset. So it might just be screaming at you to sort of fill in the space in between, right? And if you like linear algebra, that would probably come pretty naturally to you. But what I'll do, I'll draw a plane through these. So I'll pick this point, and this point, and voila, we have ourselves a plane, right? And what do you notice? You notice that the two lines are on the plane, right? They're part of the plane. And of course, so are the assets themselves, right? I think I've got myself turned around a little bit, and this thing sometimes gives me a little trouble. Okay, I think we're back. Okay, so you can see both the lines are on the plane, right? So what would it look like? You know, of course, to buy two of these, you would just go to this direction, or to buy two of these would be right here, right? But what would it look like to buy one of each? And that would just be U plus V. That's not quite right, so I'm going to go ahead and delete that. My mistake there. So U is this vector, And where's the other vector? Aha, see, that's my problem. I didn't draw that second vector, okay? I went ahead and I drew the point, and then I drew the line, so the market, but I never drew the asset itself. So I'll go ahead and do that. That's no big deal. Where are you? Where is the vector? Right here. Okay, so here to here. All right, so I think that should work. Yep, it named it V. So we'll do U plus V. And sure enough, that right there is the sum of the two assets, right? So, and that makes sense because if this asset here pays off $1 in the down state and none in the good state, okay, but this one pays off 1 in the good state but none in the down state, if you buy one of each, you're going to get $1 no matter what, right? But also, if you buy one of each, if we look at it from this direction, it's going to cost us $2, right? So you see that this is $2 high because we had to pay for this one and for this one, right? So that's this combination asset, and sure enough, if we look down here, that combination is also in the plane, okay? So what that means is by buying and selling just every possible combination you could of these two assets, we sort of fill out this plane, okay? So that's what we're doing, is we're filling out this plane by buying and selling different amounts of these two assets, okay? So that's our market, and let's just go ahead and let's ask ourselves the 3 questions we like to ask about markets. The first question is this complete? And remember, with only one asset, it was not complete because we looked down here, and let's say this was the one asset. Let's say we didn't have access to these. We said, okay, well, anything other than this line, we can't get to it, right? But now we can. So let's say we wanted some asset to pay off $2 in the down state, $2 in the bad state, or $2 in the down, $2 in the up. What will we do? Well, we just buy 2 of each, okay? And that's exactly what this means, is the plane covers, this blue plane covers our whole domain, our input. And so because this plane has a Y value at every combination or every point of the domain, that's how we know that it is complete, right? Okay, so let's also talk about the law of one price. Does the law of one price hold? And the answer to that is also yes, because there's a couple things. So first of all, it's a single valued function, right? So, at this given domain point, it costs this amount of money. There's not two Y values here. There's only one. Okay, so that's one thing. The other thing is it does go through the origin. It goes through right here, so you have the option of just doing nothing. And then the last thing is it's linear, right? So every incremental dollar you want to get in the down state, you have to pay an incremental, the same constant amount, this constant slope anywhere you are. So right here, if you come over here and go up the same amount as if you were over here, go this way and up. So what that means in math lingo is the partial derivatives are constant everywhere, okay? And the same thing would happen if you're talking about payoffs in this good state. All right, so the law of one price also holds. Now the question is this arbitrage free? And this is always the fun question, okay? So is this arbitrage free? So the way we have it now, it is arbitrage free. And that's because to get a payoff in the down state and a payoff in the up state, so these are both positive, you have to pay some positive amount today to get that, okay? And that same thing applies all throughout this quadrant, right? So this quadrant right here, this fourth of the domain, everything in this domain is going to pay off in positive in the future no matter what. So if you had a negative price here, then that would definitely be an arbitrage, because that means you're getting money today and you're certainly getting money tomorrow, right? Okay, so that's not happening though, so we are arbitrage free. And then if you also look at this quadrant, or this quadrant, right, that means, in this case, you get money in the bad state, but you lose money in the good state. So this situation can't possibly tell you anything about arbitrage because we have an up and a down, right? So whether the price is positive or negative, you still can't really tell. And the same thing happens here, right? So the only places where you can determine whether the market is arbitrage free are this quadrant where both the payoffs in the future are positive, or this quadrant in which both of the payoffs are negative. Okay, So we looked at this quadrant, this quadrant, this quadrant, and now let's look at this back quadrant. So these assets, if you had a payoff here at -4, -4, that means in the future you're going to lose $4 no matter what. But you're getting paid today. The price is negative. So it's like, well, maybe I would take that. That's exactly how things work, right? That's how people sell assets. That's how companies will sell a stock, right, or things like that. They'll get some money today but have a negative payoff in the future. Okay, so this market is arbitrage free. So now the question is, how could we make it to where there is an arbitrage so that's not arbitrage free? And it's kind of fun to think about, so I'll let you think for a second. So go ahead, but I'm gonna go ahead and start and kind of answer the question. So this point A right here, that's making this asset, I'm gonna tweak that a little bit. So I'm gonna make us a new point. So I'm gonna make us a new point at 1, 0, 0. Okay. So nothing crazy. I just made this point here. All right. Now the next thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna make a parallel line. So I'm going to make a line parallel to this z-axis, and I'm going to make it going through this point, okay? So if we look around, this is just a vertical line, and it's going through the 1 in the down state, okay? All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to put a point on that line, okay? So it's point E, and E can slide up and down, right? So now what we'll do is we'll make our little vector here. Where is our vector going through A? Where is our vector going through A? This one. So instead of going through A, let's make it go through E. And it removes the plane, but that's all right. So I'll just go ahead and I'll delete point A because we don't need it anymore. Okay? So now E is our new A. And we'll just go ahead and draw our plane again. A plane through 3 points, origin, C, and E. Okay, now we have our plane back. And our market, just like before, is arbitrage free. We're good to go. The one other change I'm going to make is I'm going to move C over here. So it's sort of in the middle. So I'm going to make C, where are you, C? I'm going to give it a payoff in both states. So now C has a payoff in both states. Okay? All right. So this market here looks pretty similar to the market we had earlier, right? In fact, we can make it really similar if we move this to 1 high, just like that. Okay, this I think I'm wrong there. That's okay. I'll not worry about that. So this market is very similar to the one we had. In order to get money in the future, right? Sure money in the future, you have to pay some positive amount now, okay? So now what we're going to do is we're going to slide this asset down a little bit, and we're still arbitrage free, boom. Now once we hit this, we now have an arbitrage. Because what this is saying is, any point on this plane, so we can get $3 in the down state of the market, $0 in the good state, but it costs us nothing today because the height of this surface is nothing. So this is an arbitrage. We're getting money in the down state in the future. We're getting nothing in the good state, but we're also paying nothing for it. So this is an arbitrage. And now if we come back up a little bit, or let's just keep going down. Now we're still in an arbitrage, right? Because in all of these spots under the curve, we're still getting money in the future, and actually we're getting paid today. So that's definitely an arbitrage. So everything down here is all an arbitrage. Arbitrage. Now once we come up, boom. Okay, so now we're arbitrage free. We can relax a little bit. This market is okay. So now if we keep going, now you can see the same thing is actually happening over here now. So if I keep coming up, we're arbitrage free until, oh goodness, we're in an arbitrage now. Because here, I actually think I overdid it a little bit. Yeah, so it's pretty much on the line. In any case, so you're getting $3 in the future here. It's not costing you anything. You're not losing any money here. So this is an arbitrage, right? So anything above here, this is all arbitrage. All that's arbitrage. and now we're good, and now we keep going down, and this is arbitrage again. Now we're arbitrage free. Okay? So what's happening there is these how we talked about arbitrage is having this, it's all about these proportionality constants. So here this proportionality constant is positive because we're talking about this being a price, not a cash flow. So this payoff, or this constant, proportionality constant, is positive, and the same thing happens over here. Our proportionality constant is positive. But all of a sudden, if I come down here and I end up in an arbitrage state, and arbitrage, now we look at this proportionality constant, it's negative, okay? And then this one is still positive, that's fine. But we have at least one of our proportionality constants is negative, then you have an arbitrage, okay? And the same thing will happen if we come up here. We're arbitrage free, so proportionality is positive, positive. But now if I keep going, boom, now we're in an arbitrage scenario. So when we look in this direction, this graph is actually going downwards, right? So, so yeah, that is, and actually we can probably see it if we draw ourselves a little plane. How do we, there might be a way to, let's see if we can draw a plane, a perpendicular plane through this line. Perfect. Okay. So now if we look at the intersection of these two, you can see that the intersection is negative. It's intersecting down below this axis right down here. Okay. I don't know if we can see it better from this side. Yeah, you can see it better from this side. You see this slope here? That slope is negative, right? So that proportionality constant is negative, and that's another way to determine arbitrage. Okay? So thank you. I hope you enjoyed.